Welcome to my journey and to another thrifting day. I don't know how much we buy. I tell you, I shopped out up in New Jersey and Lancaster, but 1 week of shopping don't take away my urge to go thrifting on Tuesday. But me and David was out running errands this morning, and I said, because neither one of us had eaten, I said, you gonna go to Townhouse? That's our little restaurant, little hometown restaurant. He said yes. So we just got through eating there, and I dropped him back home. I said, well, I think I'll just go on out and do my thrifting. I said, I need to have my video. I need a video, you know. And, you know, everything has changed now. Since Jacob comes on Thursday, my week has changed. So now I get groceries on Wednesday, which that means I got to do my menu plan when I get home today. It's already 10 to 11, so I'm getting a late start. So I got to do my menu plan, so I get my groceries tomorrow instead of Thursday. And then Jacob comes Thursday instead of Wednesday. And then I weigh in Wednesday and do that video Friday instead of Thursday. And I do my thrifting video Thursday instead of Friday. So to accommodate Jacob coming on Thursday, I switched everything I need to switch because I'm not gonna change that. But let me tell you, listen, David went down to Holly's, messing the garden, see about her lawnmower. Her lawnmower's broke, and just different little odds and ends. Because it had rained, he wanted to till for our late crops, which we ain't got in yet. She killed her broccoli and her Brussels sprouts. She says she must have just fried them. So she's going to have carrots, and then we're going to have greens. Collard greens, hopefully, and mustard greens. Because I got to have greens for the freezer, period. That's the first thing we ate up last year was our greens. We just didn't have enough. Because, I mean, out of season I buy greens in the store, but they are not the same. They chop them up real fine, and they don't have the same flavor, the same texture, nothing. Good old garden greens, that's what I gotta have. But I was at the house, and Holly called that kind of later that afternoon. I can't remember what she said. She said, are you ready? Or something to that effect. I said, what? She said, Daddy said to call and warn you. I said, what? She said, he's bringing corn. I said, you're lying. She said, nope, he's bringing corn. I said, you're lying. He didn't tell me he was bringing corn. Well, he didn't know he was, so he got down there and checked it. Because we had 2 stands, 2 rows of late corn. Which, thank goodness, because since we lost our main corn, Holly got corn. Because I bought mine. I know she wasn't going to buy none. So I told her, I said, you get all this corn. And I said, how much has he got? She said, well, there's 6 garbage bags. They're not all the way full. Listen, 168 cobs. That's how many they got off them 2 rows. He said there was a few that was too little to pick. Now, some of them don't fill all the way out. Our Silver Queen, for whatever reason, did the same thing last year. Did not fill all the way out, but our Golden Queen did. He likes to plant a row of each, back and forth. He wants it to cross-pollinate, and neither year it has done that. When you can get a good Silver Queen filled out, it's delicious corn, because that's what we growed growing up. That's what we had. So I don't even know if we should bother with it next year, to be honest with you. So some of them were nice and plump, and some of them weren't. But I got as much out of it as I could. She ended up with 40 on the cob, 4 to a pack, and then she ended up with 16 cut off the cob. So I think that turned out pretty good, considering they weren't all completely filled out. But she said, yes, she stocked. That was plenty for her, so that's good. So that's what I did all day yesterday. It takes me all day to do that. But you know what? I don't begrudge doing that for that child. Yes, she's 30, but she's my child. I don't begrudge doing that for that child, because she works her fingers to the bone doing the grunt work in that garden that I can't do. She's down there pulling up stuff and watering and pruning and carrying the cages off, and she does all the grunt work. And she mows up through the middle and around the sides, and she does all the kind of, and she helps her daddy when he's down there doing stuff. She gets out there and helps her daddy. So she keeps that garden going as best she can. And David can't get down there but typically on the weekends because of working, you know. Every now and then he can get down there for a few hours during the day if there's something pressing. Look, I'm having a drink of witch's brew, and it makes me sad because you can't find none nowhere. I have looked and looked and looked, and you can't find them nowhere. And I know a lot of these people that are buying them up are going to resell them. David was having to look for something on eBay today. He said, well, I'll look. I said, well, I guarantee you they'll have them marked up. I said, people buy them to mark them up because they know there's such a high demand. And I think Alani Nu doesn't make but as many as they make because the high demand, they want to keep you wanting more for the next year. But they are by far my favorite. But anyway, so I did her corn for her, and she's very appreciative. She don't take me for granted, and I don't take her for granted. So I told her, I said, we play to our strengths, and that's what we do. But this here, I found a couple flavors I wanted to try. Now I tried the Cosmic Stardust. I wasn't a fan of that. I tried the cherry, maybe cherry twist or something to that effect. Tasted like cough syrup. I got in the car last week to go somewhere. I took it with me. I took one sip. I'm like, I took one more sip. I'm like, nope. I jumped right out of the car and dumped it in the garbage can. I couldn't drink it. It was just like drinking cough syrup. So I won't buy anything cherry flavored. Then I bought Dream Float, maybe. It's not the Orange Kiss or something like that. It's the Dream Float. Holly said it was like a creamsicle. Oh, it's very good. So I'll get some more of those. And then I tried Peach, which was very good. That's what I had yesterday while I was working that corn. Takes me all day. It does. It takes me all day. And so I got to get some more other flavors because I don't want to drink through all these because then I won't get any more till next August. So, but I bought a case. Give her 12 and I had 12. So that's not a lot. That's one a month. So I'm gonna have to fill in with some other flavors. I've gotten used to having these things. When you're just really tired and you need something to keep you going, I like them. They're the best energy drinks I've had. I've had Bang, B-A-N-G. First of all, the cans are too big. It's more than you need. And second of all, even though they're sugar-free, they are sweet. Golly, they're sweet. I can't take them. And they're easy to find. You can find them at Dollar Tree quite often. So, I wish I would roll up into Dollar Tree and see some of these like I did that first time, which is when I found them. I'd buy every one they had. I wouldn't leave one for another soul. No, I wouldn't. I would be greedy. Call it what you want. But, anyway, so I'm heading to the first place I always go, which is the Senior Citizens Day. Which, you know, I've been there when they open, and I get to be there where there's not many people, and sometimes the place is standing crowded. But then as you go sometime throughout the day, because they put stuff out all day, and so they may have just put something out that wasn't there when you got there. It was just the thing you needed. Excuse me. But I got my okra pickled. I ended up with 14 jars of that. Me and Mama went to the farmer's market Saturday, up there to her farmer's market up in Salisbury, because she lives up closer to Salisbury. Well, she's about in the middle of Salisbury and Kannapolis. And they had little quart containers of little baby okras. And I said, oh, them's the perfect size, because we can't get enough off ours at one time to can. It's impossible with one row. And so I come home, and that's what I canned Monday. I did that Sunday and corn yesterday. And I tell you, I'm glad I didn't put off the okra, which they would have been too soft, but I'm glad I didn't put them off to today, because then I'd have to put corn off. But listen, talking about Sunday, Jacob was looking. I don't know if I done told y'all. Well, I don't know who I was. I couldn't have told y'all. I ain't talking to y'all. No, I was telling Holly. Jacob was looking at my peel holder. You know, it's got the ASMT, blah, blah, blah. And he said, now, what are these? I said, that's Sunday and Monday? And he said, Sunday. I said, yeah, Sunday. And then he started talking like me. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So he went through them. When I would tell him what they were, he would say it just like me. And so I was telling Holly, I said, Jacob, tell Mommy what that, I pulled it out. I said, tell Mommy what that's for. He said, Sunday. Oh, I tell you, he says we talk different. That's okay. But it's so funny. He was talking like me when he was there Thursday. He was talking like me. Ooh, they is crowded. Am I gonna have a parking place? Oh, I don't think I am. There's people waiting, trying to get. Y'all, there's cars everywhere trying to get a parking place. Ooh, I might have to park at Timbuktu. Oh my goodness, there's no parking places. None. I did not see one empty parking place. What am I supposed to do? This is not a good time to come. This is not a good time to come. Oh, there's one and she found it. She found it. Okay, if you... Oh, somebody's backing out. Come on, honey. Lucky duck. This is the only thing I hate about when it's crowded. Not that I might not find nothing. It's just I hate going through the crowd. I just, with the buggies there, no, you ain't getting it, because I'm right here. That's right. That's right. Whew. Y'all was my good luck charm, I do believe. All right, well, let me go on in there, and if it ain't much, I'll come on here and show you instead of going home and hauling. So, hang on. Well, not a thing. I didn't find a thing. I found one thing in the Halloween. It was new. They had a section of new stuff. It's one of the things you poke in the ground. It's made out of metal. It was a pretty ghost with a witch hat on and holding a pumpkin or something. It was very pretty. And it wasn't bright colored. It was kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but they wanted $19.99 for that thing. I'm like, even with my discount, I ain't paying that. So, that's the only one thing. This right here is supposed to keep me from yawning. That's the only one thing I saw that tripped my trigger. And I didn't even, like, dig. She was out there, she had one bin stacked to the gills of stuff to put out, but I wasn't going to stand around there and wait that long. So, I just hit the high spots, glanced through, nothing stuck out. So here we are. Now you know where I should have maybe gone to C-Band while I was back there. I still have not been to C-Band other than to donate in a very long time. They got good prices at C-Band. So I guess I'll head on up to, I don't think I'm gonna go to the Dollar Tree today. I keep looking to see if new Halloween stuff comes out. But I am gonna head on up to Nazareth. Because you know that's my Tuesday spot. I might go to Habitat today. I don't know. I haven't felt like going there lately because they've just priced themselves out of my range. Pretty stuff, out of my range. I do want to revamp my decorations because I've had some of the same stuff for years. I mean years, and I'm just tired of it. But it's not gonna be long until I'm gonna put my Halloween stuff out. Last year, I think I put it out in September. I did. Listen, confession time that embarrasses me, but whatever. I need the dust so bad. I mean, oh my gosh. Come on, little trucky man. I need the dust so bad, it is not funny. I told David, I said, why dust now? Because I'm going to dust when I put my Halloween stuff out, so why am I going to dust twice? Isn't that pathetic? I believe I'd rather eat worms than dust. I would rather. I hate dusting. I know. Well, if you didn't have so much to dust around, you probably wouldn't mind. Well, I like my stuff. I like my little whatnots. I just do. I like looking at them. I just like looking at them. And I told David, I said, "You're lucky I don't have a year-round Halloween house." He said, "I couldn't do that." I said, "I know you couldn't. That's why we don't." But you know what? I think if I had a year-round Halloween house, I might get tired of it, and then it wouldn't be so special when the time comes around, like fall. I don't know that you would get so excited over fall with me, especially if it was fall year-round. You wouldn't have nothing to look forward to. It wouldn't be that relief coming after the heat of summer. Listen, it is so nice here. It is so nice. No humidity, in the 70s, cool. And I said last week, I bet we were in Falls Falls. We had them 2 days of heat, like maybe 90 degrees, something like that. And then it went right back down to the 70s. And so I hope, because September will come back on you and bite you in the butt. Down here it will. I hope it's not going to do that, because this is so nice. I would like to feel this year-round, but then still get the coolness of the fall with the leaves falling and all that. Oh, I got me one of them. Did I tell you? I swanny to my soul. I can't remember week to week what I tell y'all. If I tell y'all the same thing, y'all just ignore me and just say she's senile or something. I got me one of them candle warming lamps. I put it on my Facebook page, my Facebook group. It's so pretty. Well, that buttered popcorn candle that I bought up at hers, that smelled so good that I told you I don't even know how much it was. I just had to have it. It hardly throws any scent at all. You can smell it when it's not burning. You can put it up to your nose and smell it, but you cannot smell it in the air. I'm so disappointed in that candle, I don't know what to do. Well, instead of burning it first, I put it under my lamp. No scent, no scent, no scent. So I thought, well, I'll switch the one I've been burning and put the butter popcorn over there and burn it. No scent. But the one that I was burning, almost immediately started scenting the house. Now, when you're in it, you can't really smell it. You get used to it. I asked Holly when she came yesterday to get that corn and her okra. I said, "Can you smell it?" She said, "Yes, I can." Because when I go to her house, the whole house is just, oh my gosh, so inviting. Because y'all know I love scents. I'm a smelly kind of person. I love scents. I love smells. And you know, smells will take you back. Candid cologne from Avon will forever and a day take me back to when I was driving Mama's Ranchero to school. She let me drive to school. I'd take her to work, and then I'd come pick her up so I could drive to school. And I spilled, that was before the spray. It was just the dab on cologne, you know, with no sprayer. And I kept it in the car, or either my pocketbook one, I don't know. And I went to put it on and I dropped it. And forever, that Ranchero smelled like candy cologne. I even bought me some a couple years ago just because I needed to go back. I needed to go back. And it will always remind me of that Ranchero. So, listen, I used a lot of Avon perfume back then. One of my favorites was Sportif. Sportif. I found some at a yard sale probably 3-4 years ago, and I bought it just for the nostalgia of it. It don't smell the same, and I don't wear it, but I bought it for the nostalgia of it. I'm bad about buying stuff for nostalgia. I'm a very nostalgic person. I would go back to the 70s in the blink of an eye. Now, that don't mean I don't want my family I got now. That don't mean it. It just means I would like to go back and relive that. I swanny to my soul. They tear up something to build everywhere you turn. But the 70s were just, they were the times of our life, and we did not even know it. And whatever you grew up in, the 50s or the 60s, where you're coming of age, you didn't know that that was the time of your life. You just didn't know until you're out, and then you get older, and then the world's going where the world's going, different things, how it's changed. No more of the simplistic life. You just don't realize how good you had it. And I would love to do it again. I really would. I would love to have that feeling again. Of course, knowing what I know now. That's what pretty much everybody says. I would go back if I knew what I knew now. I would like to know what I know now. But then I don't know if what I know now would change the naivete of the time period. Because I was pretty naive. I didn't know a whole lot of stuff. I learned a whole lot of stuff, but I didn't know a whole lot of stuff. That makes sense. So anyway, well, listen, let me tell you, there's two houses, a house behind me, and there's just a little teeny patch of woods, and then there's a house beside him. Well, they started cutting woods down in that little teeny little patch. They started cutting the woods down. And my neighbor went over there, he was talking to David, he went over and told him, he said, look, y'all cutting down my trees. He said, no, these ain't your trees. He said, no, they're my trees. Well, they are putting the teeniest little house you ever seen in that little splotch of land. It must gonna be one room all the way back. That's all I can figure, because it is teeny. I can't figure out what it's gonna look like. But if I was my neighbor, I would be ill, because he's had that nice patch of woods in between him and the neighbor, and he's on the corner, and then us behind him, so he don't have neighbors right up on him. But now he asked David, because his fence was falling down. Like if I ever sit in the driveway, you can see that falling down fence behind us. Well, he went out there here a while back, and he just pushed the rest of the fence panels down. And he was talking to David again, and said that he tried to get up the post that the fence was attached to. He said he can't get them to budge. And David said, well, you want me to try? He said, well, yeah, if you want to. And they're like, well, maybe the two of us together, we can get them down. Of course, David ain't had time, because the summer keeps him busy mowing and gardening and all that stuff. And he's had machinery break down. He stays so busy. But he said, I'm hoping they're not cemented in. I said, I guarantee you they are. He said, well, maybe if we can rock them back and forth. Listen, he ain't had time to mow our yard. He's had so much going on. He just has so much going on. And he works such long hours. He's only got so much time to do everything he needs to do. Well, our yard has been neglected. And it was Saturday, I reckon it was. He was out there working on Holly's lawnmower or something. And a man come to the door and said he wanted to know if we was wanting our yard mowed. And I asked him how much. And he said $40. I said, for the front and the back? That's what I told him, because I'm like, $40? He said, yeah. He said, weed eating and blowing. I'm like, well, let me go ask my husband. So I went out there to the garage. I said, honey, you better jump on that. He said, yeah, we'll do it. So I went to the bank and got his money. And he just whooped through that thing. He had his zero turn. He was out there with that. He weed eated and he blowed. And oh my gosh, I told David, I said, you get his name and number, because he's worth your time. And sometimes money ain't the end all and be all of everything. Sometimes your time is worth money. And David's time is worth $40. So I wish we'd have found him earlier in the season. We might get to wait a little bit longer this time if it don't rain and it's going to turn cool. It might not grow as fast, but now there ain't nothing grows up under the tree. There ain't nothing grows up under the tree. Tree roots, that's what grows under the tree. I did let David trim because he knows there's a threat of bodily harm if he ever thinks he's going to cut my oak tree down. Our deal was, back when we had the backyard graded down level, because there was water damage where the water would flow down, because we were at the bottom of the hill from the back and the side, because we're on the corner, lowest spot. Well, he wanted that graded down so we didn't have to go through that again, because we had to rebuild the whole everything. And he took every tree in the backyard. There was a couple of them more in the front yard, because he don't like trees. I'm like, if you even think you're going to touch my oak tree, you are dead wrong, because I need that for shade on my house. I'm not going to sit out in the middle of the sun. Well, he didn't touch it. And they come through every how many years, because there's telephone lines that go, I guess power lines too, maybe, I don't know. Our power's under the ground, but I guess maybe it comes from the pole. So right across the front ditch is lines, and they come because the tree grows up in them. So they come and they just cut off the front of your tree. What they do is they leave the ones below, and it's a big tree with big limbs. They leave the limbs under the lines because they're not in the lines, and then they cut straight up out of the lines. They make a tree look hideous. I mean, they did the worst job this time than they've ever done. It was hideous. Dave said, we might as well cut the whole thing down. I said, I'm going to tell you what. Them limbs will grow back and you are not touching my tree. Well, he goes out there and the limbs are hanging down, and when he mows or blows or rakes or whatever, they're popping him in the head. And when I back up, they popping on the top of the car and all this and that. He don't touch them. He don't say nothing, and he don't touch them. So he bought him a thing to go down there and cut limbs at Holly's, because she was getting eat up by her tree and briars and stuff when she mowed and all this and that. So he bought a thing for his weed eater to cut limbs down there for her. And he had to cut limbs in the back corner that comes to the neighbor's yard, through the corner of their fence over into our yard. So he had to cut all that. Well, I told him, I said, as long as you don't affect my shade, you can cut those low-hanging limbs. He did such a good job. He didn't cut them too high. He just cut off what was hanging down and touching people. And we were talking about it the other day, about that tree. I said, yeah, you know you face bodily harm if you touch my tree. I love that tree. I don't care if there ain't no grass under it. I don't care if there's roots under it. I don't care if it's mud under it. Which it don't really get muddy. It's just red dirt, because that's what we sit on. We sit on wool teller. I don't think you could grow a garden out there if you had to. Even if I wanted to put a garden somewhere, which there ain't nowhere to put it. He eventually wants to pave the driveway, because it's gravel right now. See, the driveway was in the back of the house. It come down the hill and then turned and went into the carport, which is a carport now is built in called the big room. That's what we call it, the big room. Well, he had that when he graded it down. He graded it all down, and that's where that retaining wall coming in at. And then we just put gravel down the front, because what he eventually wants, he wants gravel come up beside the house, and then the backyard leading into the garage, which is 2 bays and then a walk-in door. He wants all that paved or concreted or something. But that's a when you win the lottery kind of project, which is kind of funny since we don't play the lottery. I told him, I said, I need to play it. He said, you know that big Powerball's like, 1 in 292 million odds. I said, yeah, but you only got to be that one person. And if somebody's going to be that one person, it might as well be us. He said, I'd take that whatever it was payout. I said, you better know I would too. I think if we won the lottery, this is what you have to do to keep our marriage intact. We would have to agree on everything that needs to be done on the house. Complete the house and the garage, because we got, excuse me, we have a lot of like cosmetic work. We need to do windows, but we have a lot of cosmetic work that needs to be done. And we need to cover the garage is still cement block, and the retaining wall is still cement block, and we need gutters and windows, and we need paint, and just all kind of stuff like that. The pavement. So I think after we fix the house up, what was left, we would have to divide it in half for him and half for me, because we would argue and fuss over who and how we're going to spend the money. That's how it is. We don't have joint accounts. We have survivor benefits, whatever it is. So whoever dies, they get the other one's checking account. Now our savings accounts, which we only use, when he saves his money, he saves it in his checking account. I would try to put some in my savings account, and then I pulled it all out to go on vacation. Well, mainly we just have the savings account to transfer money back and forth to each other. It keeps you from having to go to the bank to transfer money, and as long as you keep $25 in there, it's free. So no big deal. So that's how we do it. Just like Sandy and Jim, they keep separate money. Our marriage works better with separate money. It just does. We've tried it both ways. It don't work. It just don't work. I don't like to be told how to spend my money, and he don't like to be told how to spend his money. And well, my money's my money, and his money is our money. Any of y'all like that? So that's just how. Where am I? I'm just talking and not paying a lick attention where I'm at. So anyway, I don't even know how we got on all these subjects. Oh, I'm at my next exit. So, well, that'll be all we'll talk about now, because I'm just about up here at my exit, and then we'll see if we can find anything in Nazareth. And if we don't, well, we just don't. All right. See you for whatever's next. Okay, so I went in Nazareth. Have I got a story to tell y'all? I'll tell you as we're driving to our next place. But I'm going to show you what I got. I only got 2 things. Oh, she wrapped them up. Well, I can get a hold of it. My lid fell off. They got lids. 2 big old pickle jars. $3 each, and then of course I got 10% off. But I like those for storing grains and beans. Listen, I got one that size that I store my pinto beans in. Because, you know, we pinto bean eating people. But for $3 each, that's cheaper than buying the pickles just for the jar. And we couldn't fit a jar of pickles that big. And besides, even if I could in the refrigerator, I wouldn't, because I canned so many doggone pickles that there ain't no store buying pickles gonna happen. Okay, so let me tell you. I don't know if this young man was just hot to trot. I don't know. We were coming up on the aisle, and he come around the corner. I said, if you need me, I'll squeeze on by you. And I just talk to anybody. I just talk. And I said, this here's one of my favorite places, the Candle. He said, I just like the little knickknacks. I said, I like my knickknacks too. He said, yeah. He said, I just like the knickknacks. He said, you just can't do better. I said, I know, right? I said, and now when you get old, I said, you get Senior Citizens Day 10% off. He said, you ain't no senior citizen. Listen, I could be this mama's boy, if not his grandmama. I'm not sure, because he was, well, he was probably in his 30s. I could probably be his mama. And he said, you ain't no senior. I said, yes, I am. And he was standing looking at me. I said, I'm 63. He said, you are not. I said, I am. He said, well, girl, he said, you looking good. Which, he said, you looking good for 63. He said, shoot, I might date you myself. I started laughing. And when I talk, before he even said that, when I talk, I touch people. That is a thing of mine. When I talk to a stranger, I'll just reach out and touch them on the arm. I'll just be, you know, I can't help it. And he said, I just might date you myself. And I started going around the corner, and he went around the corner. He said, he put his phone, he said, look, it's only like 11:43. He says, it's only like 11:43. He said, we got plenty of time for lunch. I said, well, I don't think my husband would appreciate that. And I don't have my wedding ring on, because I about lost it 2 days this weekend. I'm like, well, I'm going to take it off, because I about knocked it off. And he said, well, I'll take him too. I got plenty of money. I started laughing. I said, you crazy. Lord, he didn't let up. He kept on after me, wanting to go out. I'm like, oh my God. I said, you are crazy. And so I was over there. I got one of the pickle jars out. It was on the top row. And I was up there reaching for the other one. I couldn't get to it. He said, here, let me get it for you. I said, okay. So he got it for me. He said, we can still go out. I said, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. And we was laughing. There was another jar in front of the two I got it. I said, oh, it's got a lid. He said, well, I like Listen, he said, I like these for storing my marijuana in. I said, oh, that keeps it fresh, don't it? He said, yeah. He said, they make these little packs you can put in them. And he was trying to describe them to me. I said, oh, I ain't seen those. He said, yeah, I ain't never tried them. He said, but it don't usually last that long. I said, no, you smoke it up too fast. He said, well, I'm just into business. I don't really have time for smoking. So we was going on and on about marijuana. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. Oh my gosh. That little boy made my day. And he just made my day. And so I told him I was leaving, because that was in the back room, the housewares room. And so I was leaving. I said, well, it's good talking to you today. And I started around the corner. He said, we can still exchange phone numbers. I said, you better stop. You better stop. So Granny got hit on today. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I tell you, he just must have been hot to trot. He just must have been. He was a nice looking young man. So whether he was jerking my chain or being sincere, it was flattering that he would not just look at me as some old lady, you know. Whether he meant it or not, that's fine, but it was hilarious. I just couldn't believe he just kept on trying. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure David would appreciate that. That's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm sure David would appreciate me giving my phone number out while I'm out thrifting. Oh, so you don't go thrifting, you just go out to hunt men. Yeah, right. Listen, I'm gonna tell you about men. If anything happens with me and David, there won't be another one. You mark that down on your calendar. I said it right here today, whatever today's date is. I said it. I've said it before. I've told David before. He said, well, there won't be no other women. I said, no, I didn't root you for all them. He said, yeah. I think I am gonna go over here to the and he better not be over here. I swear to my soul, he better not be over here making the rounds. To the habitat, that's where I'm gonna go. So anyway, I had to tell y'all that. Now I probably won't buy nothing over here unless I find something good in the free buggies, which I'm here late. Oh, keeping the lane, girl. I'm over here. It's 12 o'clock right now, so doubtful I'll find anything in the free buggy. Of course, you never know. You find stuff no matter what time of day you go. You can find something that you need a lot of times, or you won't. It just means nobody else was wanting that. So really, it don't matter what time of day you go. If it's something that nobody else wanted, you did, you know. So anyway, well, let me get off of here and head to the habitat, and I'll see you. Okay, I did find something in habitat. This, ain't she pretty? I like the way she's shaped. Not a typical ghost shape. She was $3. I thought it was worth it, so that's the only thing I found. They didn't have very many, I didn't take a bag. They didn't have very many Halloween things in there at all. They have a lot of Christmas. Oh my gosh, they had these Christmas ornaments that would go so good with the ornaments. I just found it. Was it Wanda's that I found those ornaments? They would go so good with it. They were made out of the same stuff. They were old-timey, and they was $8 for about, I don't know, 6 of them. I wasn't doing it. As pretty as they was, I wasn't doing it. If they had been a bigger pack, maybe. But they pick out their vintage stuff and they hike up the prices. Now their old cheapy, you know, everyday Christmas balls were nothing. But I don't want them. I want something different looking. But I would have loved to have had them. They had some real pretty, like, I don't know if they were hold on there, honey. Bears, Santa Clauses, they was something, but they was real pretty, and they was like this big, and they were not stuffed. They were stuffed, but they were like not really felt. I don't know how to describe them. I have a hard time describing things, in case y'all haven't noticed. But they were $5 a piece. I'm like, no, I will just keep looking until more of these, you know, older looking things cross my way. They had in Nazareth, they had these little pine cone ornaments, but they were like this big, and I was afraid they'd get lost on the tree, even though it's one of those smaller trees, slimmer. It's not a complete slim line, it's a slimmer than I had, but I think they went for 75 cents for a whole little box of them, but I think they would get lost. So now I'm just going to turn my tunes on and head to my, you know what, I might stop by the VV. Hadn't been there in a while. Let's go to the VV. Okay, well, I had a change of plans when I ran to CVS because I had $16, I think 77 cents saved up in my rewards, because you know I'm a member of that Care Pass. I've told y'all before, Care Pass, you pay $5 a month and you get $10. So you're just paying $5 and you're getting $5 for free. So to me, that's a win-win. I've done that for years. And when you fill so many prescriptions, you get money, and we fill a lot. And so and you get dollars back for this and that. So I had $16 built up, and I'm like, I'm gonna go see if they got any energy drinks. Well, they didn't have any in the box, but they had them in a cold case. Of course, no Witch's Brew, but they had the peach, which I love the peach. So I ended up getting 10. Well, there's 9 peaches, and 1 Orange Kiss got stuck in there somehow. I didn't pay attention. Holly said Dream Float's better, but I mean, I'll drink it as long as it don't gag me. But I got all those for $8 and some change. So that's like 80 cents a drink. You can't beat that with a stick. So when I got out to the car, I had an email, so I checked it. It was from Sandra. We emailed about the race and different things, and her sister and whatnot. Pray for her sister. Her sister's doing a lot better, she said. And she said her Target had the Witch's Brew, and she's getting some delivered tomorrow. So did I have a Target? I said, I do. So I sat there in the parking lot and I searched, and it said mine had limited availability. So I'm like, well, that's worth me going to try, because it don't flat out say out of stock. You go ahead. It didn't say flat out of stock. So I thought, well, I'll give it a try. Well, they didn't have any Witch's Brew, but they had them on sale, 5 for $12, which is like 11 cents more than Walmart's. Big whoop. So I got to choose different flavors. Well, they had Dream Float, so I got 5 of those. And then they had what else did I get? Well, they had a watermelon, 1 watermelon, so I got it because I know all of that. And then I got 1 Hawaiian shaved ice. I know, oh, I'm in the wrong lane. I know all of that. Well, I don't know it, but it just sounds delicious. And then it seemed like there was one other one, or no, I got the last 3 called Pink Slush. I don't know what they taste like, but I'm going to give them a go. And so I got those at Target. Well, when I was leaving, there's a cold section where there's got like a little snack area where you can buy, I don't know what you can buy there, pizza, pretzels, I don't know. And there's a cold section there to get drinks and stuff. And I walked by and I saw some of the drinks. Well, I had all of them except for they had 1 watermelon. I was going to buy 5 more watermelons if I seen them, but they had 1. So I did the self-checkout. So I just made the little U-turn and went back in there and checked out my 1 watermelon. It wasn't on sale, but I don't care. Well, $2.59 is their regular price. $2.40 was their sale price. So that's 8 cents cheaper than Walmart. So that's good. So, honey children, I am stocked up on the energy drinks, just not the Witch's Brew. But I will live. So, I am not going to any more thrift stores because I got enough energy drinks to finish off my shopping for the day. So I don't need to go look for nothing else. So I didn't buy much thrifted today, but I got lucky on the Alani News, so that makes me happy. That makes me really happy. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my Nazareth story. And let's see, you're seeing this on Thursday, so I will see you tomorrow for weigh-in.